and once it's in one place you can move it around, no problem. But when you when it's sent to your computer, the file will be on your hard drive, and you can select let me just show you what it looks like. A bit of a digression, but this is an important one. So I think you'll see some of these, Zamza there are a number of websites that will allow you, they will say you upload a file, you designate whether it's a PDF or an EPUB or a Kindle book, and you will tell it that you want it to be converted to a PDF or an EPUB or a text file, and then you'll upload it, and then it will send you an email. You click on the link and you will download that file, and so you don't have to buy the software, it is all on the internet. So why am I mentioning this? Because this is obviously a book that is converted from probably, and maybe a Kindle, I'm not sure. But you'll see here that I'm able, because I've OCR'd it, I'm able to just copy and paste this. Okay. Now, what I'm able, I could do it this way. I can just copy everything, and then let's do this. And because the screen is so big, I'll go here, 2 pages, and I go paste. You'll see that it's monstrously huge, so I'll get rid of all the formatting. Okay, so this is what we have here. Now, it's not usually a good idea to go into a PDF and to copy and paste, because you'll lose all the formatting. What's best for you to do is for you to go and save as. And so there is PDFs come in all shapes and sizes. Some have been locked, some haven't been locked, some are open. Some are produced on Kindle books, and so there is no one way that you can get a PDF into a form which is going to be easy for you to work with. Often, something that works very well is an RTF format, and so let's just see what this looks like. An RTF is probably the most reliable, if you're wanting to kind of keep the formatting, that is most reliable. It may not be that you need the formatting. If that's the case, then my suggestion is that you convert it just as a text file, and then you can, in Word, you can manipulate that. This is a 48-page document, so it's going to take a while. But again, this is something that you cannot do with Adobe Reader. So Adobe Reader is just intended to read PDFs, but it isn't intended to do all this. Okay, so
can I just ask you why you want text? You can read the PDF.
Yeah.
So why do you want it in these other forms?
Yeah. Okay. So there's a number of reasons for that. I mean, sometimes I'm working on a reader. I'm doing a number of reader projects at the moment, and so I'm taking sections of books and putting them in there. But that's a good question. We won't have the time to talk about this today, but in terms of qualitative data analysis, some programs will work natively with PDFs, but other programs you have to turn your PDFs into a text file or an RTF file in order for them to index it. And again, this is a bit too much information, but qualitative data analysis programs come in all shapes and sizes, and some of the free ones will work very well, but they won't use PDFs, and so you have to convert your PDFs into a form that it will be able to interact with. Others that are probably at the higher end, and we're talking about $1,700 to buy a license. They will work with PDFs, which will save you a lot of time and money, but you won't have to do all the hard work of converting PDFs into text in order for these. So I'm getting confused. If I had $700, I would buy a qualitative data analysis program, and the bad news is that I have to pay $700. The good news is that it will work natively with PDFs. So I spend money, but I save time. Now, if you are wanting, there are a number of qualitative data analysis programs that are open source. That's the good news. The bad news is that they won't work with PDFs, and therefore you've got to find a way of getting the most relevant PDFs into a form that they will work with. There are a number of programs, for example, this program here, PDF to Text Converter. There are a number of programs that will, you just grab the PDFs and you throw them into that program and they'll spit them out. But there will be formatting problems. And so this is probably a bit too much information and beyond the scope of this seminar, but in the old days, the problem used to be to get a hold of the books. These days, getting hold of information is really not as difficult as it used to be, although it is for us in Thailand. But the problem now is working out how to manage all this information, and I'll give at least 20 minutes at the end of the morning session to present some indexing software, which for me has really revolutionised the way that I'm able to do my work. So if we are reading PDFs and are finding PDFs certain discussions to be particularly useful, there are a number of functions we have here. You'll see that I can highlight here, and the highlighted section will be in the box. I can make annotations. This is a particularly good point that I would like to refer to in my introductory chapter when I deal with the phonology of the dialect in my research site. So I'm able to annotate this. If you are a non-native speaker of English and you are working with Mac,
An introduction to sociolinguistics PDF.
Sorry. If you're a non-native speaker of English and you want to be able to trudge through PDFs fast.
During the many years I taught, my students also provided me with numerous insights into what works in the classroom and what does not. My thanks go once again to Judy Morris and Angie Gavarni for all their secretarial assistance with the first edition, for this edition, as for the previous editions.
Now,
my thanks go to all those who provided comments.
You can choose the voice that you want, and you can choose the speed that you want. Now, I'm a native English speaker, and I have no problem with following that. Okay, now if you are not, you will need to spend the time to find a voice that you like and the speed that you can follow. There are a number of PDF programs, for instance, Nuance. Alternatives. Nuance. There's a company called Nuance, and they have a PDF software suite called Omni, and this will natively export PDFs as MP3s. Now, when I am traveling, I've got sorry, I've got to now find an academic, CMJ. Where did I put it? Okay, let's do this. Artist, CM. So what I have here is I have a whole pile of
Beyond Islam, tradition and the intelligibility of experience at the end of my field research in the summer of 2004 in the village of Paktewa, located near Andijan, Uzbekistan.
these are PDFs that I have that I've converted to MP3s and I put on my iPhone. This is I think that for many non-native speakers of English who, okay, at this point I could say I could do one of two things. I could say to you that reading is like running, and not everyone grows up able to run, and not everyone grows up able to read, and that you learn muscles, you acquire muscles, you acquire skills. And once you have acquired that skill, that ability, there are so many benefits. So many of the a lot of the software that I'm introducing and this is only an introduction, the software that I'm introducing and the techniques that I'm demonstrating to you should not be seen as being able to short-circuit the pain of sitting down and thinking and trudging through and reading this stuff. However, in my job, I'm expected to keep abreast of all the latest publications that come out. Now, I can get a book like this, and I can say, listen, this comes highly recommended. I'm really looking forward to what this guy, Niall Green, is saying about Sufism. So what I did with this book is I got it and I scanned every page. I scanned it in what program did I use? Adobe. I made a PDF and then I recognized the text. And then what I did is I converted the text to an RTF, and there are programs in Windows that will do this, but in Mac they've got their own system, and I'm sorry I don't know all of it. But here I can put in an RTF and I can say turn this to a spoken text, I can turn it to an MP3, and so what I did, I think, this is Niall Green, CMJ, and I think, yeah, books. Green. Okay, so this takes 5 hours. This takes 5 hours to. Now, what I did is I took all of the references out. Okay, so all the bibliography is out. Otherwise, they'd be reading like, you know, Joe Blogg's Oxford University Press 2010. Now, you know, you might be really interested in reading that, you know. But so what I did is I took all of the references out, or the endnotes out, and the whole thing, doing that might have taken me 40 minutes at the end of the day when I wasn't really going to be doing anything anyway. And so this book.
Page 1, Introduction from Mysticism to Tradition. Conceptualizing Sufism. Sufism has often been defined as Islamic mysticism, comprising a set of techniques by which
So you can't hear this particularly well. But the thing is that if you were hopping on a bus, if you had to hop on a bus to your uncle's village because, you know, your niece was getting married, and if you wanted to kind of sit on a bus reading the book, I mean, that's just completely up to you. Maybe you don't get car sick. But I think that, again, going back to one of the comments that I made, I think that a lot of people are incredibly creative about how to make their life more enjoyable through technology, and they've worked out ways that they can access music and listen to music and get movies and watch movies. And listen, I have no problem with that. But the question that I want to ask you is, if you are in a season where you are in a season of formation as a scholar, formation as a thinker, formation as a researcher, because you have got a cause you want to contribute to, you want to go back and you want to, you know, to be able to help revitalize your language, or you want to be involved in peace and conflict, The question that I have is this: why is it that people are so creative about how they can make their life more enjoyable and less difficult and have to deal with less drudgery, and yet when they come into a university they kind of, there's something that happens to them that they want to be old-fashioned, they want to just, do you get it? I'm, you know, so I kind of, I just think that there are all sorts of ways for us to, we don't actually need to have access to the ebooks on an ebook website like the one that I showed you earlier. Although this is arguably the easiest way for us to start this thing, if we do get a book with a good bed scanner, if you scan this to 300, 200, 300 dpi, if you scan every page and then you combine all that into one PDF, and if you OCR that, and then if you export it as an RTF, you are able to, I mean, Wynne has rightly asked, why on earth would you want to convert an entire PDF to a text? And I gave him one answer, but the other answer is that we are able to use the PDF to help us listen to a book instead of reading it. Now, there are audiobook websites that you can get, but again, you have to pay for those. There are libraries with books that you legitimately are able to borrow, and again, I have no problem with scanning that and digitizing everything. So that is, I've mentioned a number of ways that we can manipulate PDFs, and we can turn it into text to be used in our essays. We can, when we OCR this, we can add this to our stash, and I'm going to be talking about the importance of having a stash. Okay. Unless there are any clarifying questions that people want to ask, let me try and dovetail that to my next session. Have I lost anyone? Does anyone want to draw me out on these things?